You say one word, maybe their name, maybe walk, maybe just a strange, unfamiliar sound, and instantly, their head tilts to one side, ears perking, eyes locking onto your face, like you've just said something genuinely fascinating. It's one of the most universally adored behaviors in the entire dog world, captured in millions of videos, and yet almost nobody actually knows why dogs do it. Is it confusion? Curiosity? Are they actually trying to understand you? Today, we're finally answering that question properly, because the real explanation is stranger and more touching than most people expect. Welcome back to Decoding Dogs, the channel dedicated to understanding what's really going on inside your dog's mind and instincts. Let's get into it. The first and most widely supported explanation comes down to something surprisingly practical: sound localization. Dogs have significantly more sensitive hearing than humans, capable of detecting frequencies up to roughly 65,000 Hz, compared to the human ceiling of around 20,000 Hz. That heightened hearing comes with a trade-off, though. The more sensitive an animal's hearing becomes, the more it relies on tiny timing differences between each ear to figure out exactly where a sound is coming from. When a dog hears an unfamiliar or interesting sound, tilting their head slightly changes the position of each ear relative to the source, allowing their brain to triangulate the sound's exact location more precisely. In other words, that adorable tilt might be a dog literally recalibrating their internal sound mapping system in real time, adjusting their ears like a satellite dish repositioning to get a clearer signal. This theory gets even more interesting when you consider dog breeds with floppy, drooping ears, like Basset Hounds or Cocker Spaniels, compared to breeds with upright ears, like German Shepherds or Huskies. Some veterinary researchers have observed that floppy-eared dogs tend to tilt their heads more frequently and more dramatically than prick-eared breeds. The theory here is that floppy ears physically cover part of the ear canal, muffling and distorting incoming sound more than an upright ear would. To compensate for that extra obstruction, floppy-eared dogs may need to tilt further to get the same quality of directional information that a husky gets almost automatically, just from having their ears standing straight up and mobile. But sound localization almost certainly isn't the whole story, because dogs also tilt their heads in situations where there's no directional ambiguity at all, sitting directly in front of you, looking straight at your face, hearing a sound coming from exactly one place. This is where the second major theory comes in: visual obstruction. A dog's muzzle, particularly in longer-snouted breeds, actually blocks a portion of their own lower field of vision. When you talk to a dog, especially while making direct eye contact, part of your face, particularly your mouth, may be partially obscured by their own nose getting in the way of a clear line of sight. Tilting their head shifts their snout out of the way, giving them a clearer, more complete view of your facial expressions, especially around your mouth and eyes, the two areas that carry the most emotional and communicative information on a human face. Researchers studying canine cognition have found that dogs are remarkably skilled at reading human facial expressions, more so than almost any other domesticated species, likely as a direct result of thousands of years of selective breeding alongside humans. If a dog's brain has learned that your face contains valuable information about your mood, your intentions, and sometimes even the exact word you're about to say next, it makes sense that they'd instinctively try to maximize their visual access to it, shifting their head out of their own snout's way to get the clearest possible read on you. Now here's where the research gets genuinely surprising, and it comes from a widely discussed study involving a border collie named Tilly. Researchers working with Tilly, a dog known for an unusually large vocabulary of recognized object names, discovered something remarkable. When Tilly heard a command using a word she already knew and understood, she was significantly more likely to tilt her head than when she heard an unfamiliar or nonsense word. This finding suggested something deeper than simple curiosity. The head tilt may actually be connected to a dog's process of recalling and matching a spoken word to a stored memory, almost like watching someone pause and tilt their head while trying to place a familiar face in a crowd. If this theory holds up across more dogs, it means the head tilt isn't just about physically hearing or seeing you better. It might be a visible sign of active memory retrieval happening in real time, your dog's brain working to connect the sound you just made to something specific they already know. This theory adds a genuinely emotional layer to a behavior most people just find cute. If your dog tilts their head specifically when you say a word they recognize, like their name, a specific toy, or the word walk, that tilt might be the outward visible sign of your dog actively thinking, actively trying to connect what they just heard to a memory or an expected outcome, rather than simply reacting on instinct. There's also a social and emotional component worth mentioning, separate from the purely mechanical explanations. Dogs are highly attuned to human emotional cues, and many trainers and behaviorists have observed that dogs tend to tilt their heads more often during positive, engaged interactions, especially when a person is speaking in an animated, high-pitched, or exaggerated tone, the kind of voice most people instinctively use when talking affectionately to a dog or baby. This suggests the head tilt might also function, at least partially, as a social signal in itself, a visible response that shows engagement and attentiveness, not unlike the way a person might lean forward and raise their eyebrows while listening closely to someone they care about. It's also worth addressing something practical here, because not every head tilt has a positive or curious explanation behind it. Veterinarians point out that persistent, repetitive head tilting, especially if it happens even without any sound or speech triggering it, or if it's paired with stumbling, loss of balance, or one ear drooping differently than the other, can actually be a sign of an ear infection, inner ear imbalance, or in more serious cases, a neurological issue affecting the vestibular system, which controls balance. The occasional, responsive head tilt during conversation is completely normal and healthy. A head tilt that persists constantly, appears suddenly without any clear trigger, or comes with other symptoms like disorientation, is worth a trip to the vet rather than a video for your camera roll. So why do dogs actually tilt their heads when you talk to them? Based on everything researchers currently understand, it's very likely a combination of all of these factors working together, not one single explanation. Part of it is genuinely mechanical, repositioning their ears to better locate and interpret a sound, especially in floppy-eared breeds working harder to compensate for muffled hearing. Part of it is visual, shifting their snout out of their own line of sight to get a clearer read on your facial expressions. And part of it, based on studies like the one involving Tilly the Border Collie, may be a visible sign of your dog's brain actively working to connect a word or sound to something they already understand. A small, outward flicker of genuine thought happening in real time, right in front of you. The next time your dog tilts their head while you're mid-sentence, it's worth remembering that it's probably not confusion at all. It's your dog trying, in the most literal sense possible, to hear you, see you, and understand you all a little bit better, all at the exact same time. If this finally explained one of your dog's most iconic behaviors, let us know in the comments which words make your own dog tilt their head the most. And don't forget to subscribe to Decoding Dogs, because next time, we're breaking down why dogs get a sudden, uncontrollable burst of energy after a bath, the phenomenon most owners call the zoomies.